limits who's available to come to your camp for kids, right? You're only reaching a certain portion of kids. And if you're a low-income kid and love Steph Curry, you're clearly not going to be there. If you're in a neighborhood with high poverty, if you're in a neighborhood like where I grew up or like where I work or where my friend's a principal, you don't have that luxury of going to a $2,000 camp. So I would like to see athletes do many more free camps or less expensive camps. I had the privilege, my parents sent me to a camp probably, 25 years ago now. Early 90s. It was the David Tate football camp over at DU, I think is where it was. And David Tate, he was an NFL safety. He had other NFL guys come out. John Embry was there, Mark Jackson, Steve Atwater. I got to hang out with Barry Sanders while I was there. And a few other guys also were coaches and instructors. Mark Jackson. And some names are, Mike Pritchard was there. And there's some names that are escaping me. But I understand how valuable and how much fun for a young athlete those camps could be. That was a great time for me. It was a dormed camp. I didn't stay in the dorms, but I hung out in the dorms during the day with the guys at lunch break or whatever when, everybody cut out and was in the dorms hanging out. And I got to play cards and hang out with some of these NFL players. They really, just made it fun for us. And hanging out and talking with Barry Sanders, I became a Barry Sanders fan and then a Lions fan. And that's how I became a Lions fan and have been for the last 25 years now. And, ride or die, I will be a Lions fan forever. So I understand. I enjoyed the camps. I understand where Michael Bennett's coming from about the kids needing more opportunities and the athletes not charging so much. I really do get that. One thing I don't get, a lot of people don't get, a lot of people don't agree with, players don't agree with, is the NFL's top 100 list. It's always entertaining. If you guys paid attention to it this year, there's a lot of guys who are complaining about their spots, saying, F you, I don't need this crap, your list is junk. But they got to take it for what it is. A lot of the guys that I hear complaining about it, the players that are upset about their position or upset they're not on the list, their complaints sound like they want their entire career's worth of work taken into account for where they should be on the list. And they got to understand, it's nothing personal, one. But two, this is a list compiled. We don't know how the list is compiled. They say it's by the players. I don't know if that means they have the players, write down their top 5 at every position and somehow they go and average that out to get rankings. I doubt they go, here's a list of 1 through 100, put 100 names on here. So we don't really know how the NFL gets this information from the players. But supposedly this is supposed to be a list by the players of the top 100 players for that specific season. So you can see a guy who's had a great career like a Steve Smith who's not happy with the list. Not be on or be low on that list. Because last season he got hurt. He didn't have a great season. He shouldn't be at the top of a list like that. A lot of these guys... Now, don't get me wrong, there are guys on the list, especially in the top 10, which we'll go over here in a little bit. I'm not going to do the whole list, but we'll hit the top 10, that based on last year's performance, maybe shouldn't have been in the top 10. Maybe a little bit of what their career was got them to where they are in the top 10 or got them into the top 10. Now, I enjoy the list. I mean, like you guys know, I'm a Lions fan. There's never a ton of Lions on there. We had some on there this year. Calvin's on there. Reddick's on there. Who do we have on defense that made it on there? Slay was on there. So we had some guys on there this list this year. Expect many more coming from this upcoming season, as I do. Big things coming for us this year. But that'll be another show where I start doing the previews for the season. So, let's get into the NFL's top 10 of 2015 list. It's the 2015-16 season, so I'm going to call it the 2015 list. And at number 10, coming in, wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, he's exciting, he's marketable, but top 10 player last season? Top 10 in the headlines, for sure, but a top 10 player out of all the guys playing last season. Top 10? Not for me. I'm sorry, I got to disagree with that one. He's a good player, he's got more to offer, especially once he can control his competitiveness and get that fire focused in one direction. But top 10, that's tough for me. I would probably put him in my top 5 at his position, probably. But again, some of that goes now into, I take into account career. And so far in 2 years, yeah, he's done some remarkable things as far as some of the catches he's had and fights he's been involved in and people he's dated and yards he's put up. But I think that's scratching the surface for him, so I'm not quite ready to put him there yet. Coming in at number 9, I thought this was a little low for this individual based on his play last season, Rob Gronkowski. Gronkowski is the highest rated tight end on the list. So I am obviously everybody should agree with that. He is the best tight end in the NFL, bar none. Coming in at number 8, Julio Jones. Okay, I can see that. He had a good year last year. It was solid right up until the Falcons season blew up. Then he just had, some garbage games here and there where he picked up some numbers at the end of games. So I don't agree with that one. They had some coaching changes down there in Atlanta last season, and I think that affected them. I think some of their younger players hit the wall. I think they expected more out of some of their younger players and did not get that, especially out of like a Vic Beasley, their draft pick from last season. He did not have a good rookie season. But you could see Julio Jones deservingly be again in the top 10 this season. If Atlanta stays healthy and keeps playing like they did the first half of last season throughout this whole year, you could see him put up some big numbers. You could see him put up a 2,000-yard season like was written about this week. Number 7, top linebacker on the list, Luke Kuechly, or however you want to say his last name, from the Carolina Panthers. This is a stud. He is the best linebacker in the NFL. I would love it if somehow magically he ended up on the Lions before his prime was over. But this guy, he's a hard-nosed hitter. He's going to put his head in there. He's not scared to make a tough tackle. He's got the speed to cover sideline to sideline. He can cover a tight end just about one-on-one with most tight ends in the league. He's just great. He's a leader on the field. He's a leader off the field. From what I understand, he's a leader in the film room and the weight room. He's the type of linebacker everybody would want to have on their team. Number 6. Now, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers deserves to be in the top 10. The Packers didn't have a great season. Statistically, wasn't his best season last season. Now, he didn't have a lot of weapons. He made some guys off the street look pretty good, though. He helped Green Bay really just hang in there. 6, I probably would have kept him in the top 10, but I think 6 is a little high. Even with all the obstacles he had to put up with, I think 6 is a little high for Aaron Rodgers. Coming in at number 5, now this is definitely one where guys are just awed by his talent. He didn't have the 5th best season of any player last season, in my opinion, at all. This is Adrian Peterson, Minnesota Vikings running back. Great player, in my opinion, the best running back in the NFL right now still. But last season, average run-of-the-mill season for him. Really, Minnesota's defense, that young stud defense, is what got them through last season. Adrian Peterson really helped Teddy Bridgewater quite a bit last season, and you might see that offense take off more this season, especially now that they'll be inside in the new dome. They got Treadwell up there in the draft this year. Diggs should have a better second year. So, we'll see. Adrian Peterson is great all day, right? He's all day. But I think 5 5 is a little more of a legacy pick for him. A little more of guys like to just watch him play. They enjoy that he's a running back who will deliver a hit. I think that's where that comes from more than anything. Number 4, Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown balled out last season. I mean, you can't say it any other way. The receivers there in Pittsburgh, what they got going on offense, them boys are balling out. Roethlisberger is pitching the ball around all over the field. Guys are making plays. They're wearing defenses down. They wait for one little crack in the armor, like what happened to Chris Harris in the regular season. He got that bogus call on him near the end zone, and in the rest of the game, Antonio Brown torched him up. And that's what they'll do. They're either going to beat you from the get-go, or they're going to wait till you are worn down and you show a little crack, and then they're going to torch you. Now, he had a great year. They're saying, could he be the wide receiver MVP this year? Who knows? Maybe. If they can grow on what that offense did, if they somehow can make that offense get better, sure. I could see it. I could see anybody being deserving of the MVP. J.J. Watt was deserving of the MVP. I don't like that it's mostly limited to quarterbacks. Quarterback, every position in the NFL is a dependent position. There's not one position that's not dependent. If you really think about it. The quarterback, sure, you got the ball most of the game. A lot of it can come down on your shoulders, right? Air quotes. But the guy's got to catch the ball for you. The guy's got to make the run after the catch for you. The guy's got to get in the end zone for you. You're dependent on that for you to get the W. If you're a guard, you're dependent on the guy next to you making the right read and you guys working together to make the blocks so that nobody gets through, so that you can continue to be a guard or a tackle or a center. If you're a linebacker, you are dependent on your defensive lineman to keep guys off of you so you can run around and make plays. If you're the punter, you're dependent on the guys in front of you not to get you killed. Every position on a football field is a dependent position. So, could he be an MVP? Yes. I think any position could be the MVP. Coming in at number 3, guy I just mentioned, J.J. Watt. To me, right now, he should have been number 1 on this list for a second year in a row. I believe he was number 1 on last year's list. If not, he was number 2. He's the best player in the NFL. He has the highest motor. He gets the most results. Out of what he does, to me, I'm sorry, he's the number 1 guy in the NFL. And I'm a defensive guy, so I might be biased in that. But he's a beast. He takes on double, triple teams nonstop. You don't see him take plays off. You don't see him like some of these other guys slowing down or I'm on the backside, so I'm not going to hustle. Constant, high motor, tough, working hard, giving it everything he got until he doesn't have anything left. Ain't no joke there. That's a man. If you're going to line up across from J.J. Watt, you better bring it. And that's why, to me, he should have been number 1 on this list. Now, next, rounding out this list in the top 2 spots, we got 2 quarterbacks. Tom Brady at number 2 and Cam Newton at number 1. Brady had a great season. Don't get me wrong. It was a typical Tom Brady season. He should be in the top 10 probably until he retires. He's that player. He's a general out there, and he leads his guys. And when you see him crack, it's because it's a competitive crack. You better pull up your pants and get out there, because I didn't bring my little boy panties today. I brought my big boy pants, and we're ready to play. And you better, expletive, bring it. And I could play for a guy like that. I could have him be my quarterback in Detroit. Denver fans, had he not been in New England this whole time, you guys would surely welcome him here like you welcome Peyton Manning, after he torched you over and over again in the playoffs in the regular season. So I don't want to hear nobody hating on this. I don't want no comments about, oh, Brady sucks, showing up on the page. Just give the man his respect. Stop worrying about whether or not he's cheating, because he's not the only one. Every team in the NFL tries to find rules that they can take advantage of to give them a competitive advantage. But when you win all the time and you do it, people want to hate and throw shade. So just get over it. Enjoy